much biased towards North America. There are many courses in logistics which don't appear in that information. But very much logistics is very much a Northern Hemisphere, American, European sort of focus. And what we did was start to analyse some of the content of courses given in Europe and North America. And we sorted the courses out into categories. And these are we looked at courses in Europe, looked at courses in North America, and we looked at a couple of courses in Asia or Australasia. And we sort of analysed the courses, how long were they, what were the regulations, what were the internships, what were the requirements. And from that we did an analysis, and you can see that in the American system there's some variation, but the big emphasis on supply chain management, big emphasis on business management, and the thing to notice from that is the all-round strength of MIT's course. We did the same analysis for Europe, which is a little bit different because places like Antwerp and Erasmus were very keen on transport. The French were ESAL, the French one, are very keen on engineering, and the other one in Paris, the Haute École de Commerce, is very much concerned with business management. And we also looked at the local demand for logistics professionals, especially in Korea and China, and this is what motivated us. What was beginning to happen is that growth of universities in North America was slowing down, and they wanted to start putting satellites into the Asia-Pacific region, because this is where the growth's going to be. There are many offerings to us from American universities, very expensive, but they wanted to join us and develop. And we thought maybe we could develop our own courses. So the key thing now in the region we live in is to develop your own logistics capacity. This is what you're doing at Incheon University. Because your government wants its share of the education industry. If you start looking at the Australian-Korean trade, the big trade is in education services. A lot of Koreans coming to Australia to study. So the government wants to cut that off and develop your own share of the industry. And there were two courses we looked at in this region. One was Singapore, which was really into industrial engineering, systems engineering, and the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, which combined business and transport. A little bit on supply chain management as well. And what we came up with, and I finished with these, you've got 4 models. We came up with what I call the Asia-Pacific Network Model. There was the partner model in Hong Kong, University of Science and Technology. There was the overseas partner model, which is Singapore, and the global network model, which was the Inha University model. The main thing about the Australian one is they built outposts in China and Vietnam. That was the emphasis. And what they were hoping to do was to give the students based in Australia or in the Asia-Pacific region a global passport. The Hong Kong model was more in-house. It was a partnership between the engineering school and the business school. but that was just to looking through the region, what other courses are available. And then there's the Singapore model. The Singapore government wants to develop Singapore as a distribution hub and a supply chain management control tower. That was the government policy. And it wanted to capitalise on this demand for international education. And what Singapore wanted to become was the global schoolhouse, to draw students in from across the world. And it set up a logistic course, the Logistics Institute, between Singapore University and Georgia Tech. The big thing about that course is you got 2 degrees. That's the attraction of it. They didn't actually have a logistics department in Singapore University. People came in from different departments to give the course. So these are the sort of things you've got to look at when you're trying to promote a logistics course. Then there's the INHA model. That was the global network model. INHA University helped set up a global U8 consortium of 8 universities. There's only 7 left now, but at one stage there were 9, but we decided we wouldn't change the number of 8. So whether there's 7 or 9 or 10, it's still going to be the global U8. That saves some embarrassment. But 4 of those universities are engaged in logistics. INHA, Le Havre, Hull, and RMIT University. And they're running a joint course together. So when we are discussing in coffee, this is one way of globalising your activities. Students go from INHA University to France, or to Australia, or to the United Kingdom to do courses. And the lecturers also are on the same circuit. So there's some savings in that. So let me finish. The course we established had 4 distinctive features. One was the global local. We tried to give a global perspective, but we were also interested in Korea, China, and Japan. The second point about it was we had 2 types of courses. There's some you had to do, and there's some electives. If you were interested in shipping or air transport, you could have electives to suit you. If you're interested in business management, wanted a job in LG or Samsung, you would take those electives. And the other selling point was only 3 semesters and you graduate. Because a lot of competition. How long does your course last? So we are very keen on that. We even thought of having people coming to stay at weekends and provide accommodation for them. Initially, we had a lot of money to set up the course. So we drew in 15 staff from around the world, 4 different continents. We brought in Americans, people from Australia, people from Europe, to set up this course. That has been going down smaller, fewer and fewer are involved now, but that helped set up the course. They used their expertise. And the 5th thing I'll leave you to think about. How does one set up a logistics course? I went through this process. You're going to go through the same process. Hopefully this was helpful to you. Thank you.